Some people will do almost anything before they ask for help. They'll spend hours trying to figure something out on their own. They'll carry stress quietly. They'll struggle in silence while everyone around them assumes they're doing fine. And if someone does offer help, they often respond with something like, "No, it's okay, I've got it." On the surface, it looks like independence. It looks like strength, like someone who simply prefers to handle their own problems. But people who rarely ask for help often don't realize that this pattern didn't just appear randomly. It usually has a history. Because for many people, the difficulty isn't about pride, and it isn't really about confidence either. It's about what they learned very early about relying on others. For some, asking for help once meant being ignored or misunderstood or made to feel like a burden. Maybe they asked for support and got criticism instead. Maybe they were told they were too sensitive or too dramatic. So slowly, without realizing it, the brain starts making a quiet calculation. If needing people leads to disappointment, then maybe it's safer not to need them at all. And this belief doesn't usually show up in big, dramatic ways. It shows up in small, almost invisible behaviors, like rewriting a message 3 times before sending it because you don't want to sound like you're asking for too much, or sitting with a problem for days instead of bringing it up, or saying, "I'm fine," automatically, even when you're not. Sometimes it even shows up as being the person everyone else goes to, the reliable one, the calm one, the one who listens. But when it's your turn to need support, suddenly the words don't come out. And here's where it gets interesting. Most people assume this behavior means someone is extremely independent, but the real reason isn't independence, it's protection. When someone grows up learning that help isn't always safe, their brain adapts. It builds a system where control becomes the priority. If you don't depend on people, you can't be disappointed by them. If you solve everything yourself, you avoid the risk of rejection. And over time, this pattern becomes part of identity. You become the strong one, the responsible one, the one who handles things. But strength in this context isn't always about capability. Sometimes it's about emotional safety, because asking for help requires something surprisingly vulnerable. Trust. Trust that someone will respond with care. Trust that your needs won't be dismissed. Trust that relying on someone won't backfire. And if your earlier experiences taught your brain that trust was uncertain, then doing everything alone starts to feel like the safer option. That's why people who rarely ask for help are often extremely thoughtful about others. They're careful not to inconvenience people, careful not to ask for too much, careful not to appear needy. Not because they don't deserve support, but because somewhere along the way they learned that needing people could come with a cost. So they adapt. They become self-reliant, quietly resilient, capable in ways that others might not even notice. But the pattern itself remains mostly invisible, even to them. And once you begin noticing it, you start seeing it everywhere. In the friend who always listens but rarely shares. In the coworker who handles everything alone. In the person who says, "Don't worry about me," a little too quickly. It was never random. It was a pattern shaped by experience, a quiet strategy the mind created to stay safe. And once you see that pattern clearly, something shifts, because what once looked like simple independence starts to reveal a deeper story, not about weakness, but about protection. And sometimes, just understanding that pattern is enough to see yourself a little more clearly. If this explains something you've noticed in yourself or someone around you, there's always more to uncover. Because the way we behave is rarely accidental. It's usually a reflection of what we once had to learn to survive.